Hi everyone, I'm Ritika. Today we're going to move through a hip mobility practice and we will see how that translates into the exploration of Trikonasana, triangle pose. Let's begin. Grab a block and practice close to a wall. If you don't have a block, grab a couple of thick books. Let's come down to the mat. So taking your back all the way down. Maybe you need to open your hair like I do. Do whatever you need to feel comfortable here. Feet firmly planted into the mat. Take your hands to your belly. And just tune into your breath. Feel free to keep your eyes open or softly close them. Notice expansion as you inhale. And grounding as you exhale. Notice if you can feel the breath in your belly. Breathing a little bit deeper. There will be moments throughout the practice when I will remind you to watch your breath. And there will be moments of silence. These will be an opportunity for you to connect to whatever your intention is. Whatever you desire to bring into this day. It could be as simple as just being present, doing everything with complete attention. One more breath here. Softly opening your eyes, taking your arms by the sides of the hips. We are going to turn the hips to the left and just come on to the left arm. So you can either rest your head on that left arm or you can prop the head up on the left hand. Then bending the knees inward, so we are at a 90-degree angle abouts with the legs. We're going to bring that right knee into the chest, open the right knee up, send it to the front of the room and then bring it back in. Taking 4 more hip circles like this. We want to stay on that left hip and notice how these hip circles feel on the right side. 3. So moving slowly, finding the entire range through that hip socket. And last one. Once it comes in, we are going to change direction. So sending the hip out first. The knee moves out and then comes in. Wonderful. Bringing the right knee down, moving on to your back again, and then turning to the left side. So get yourself set up, hugging that left knee into the chest. Left knee moves up to the front of the room and then back in. 4 more. Three, 2, and 1. Bring it in and then send it to the front. Find that full rotation. Sometimes one side, for me it's the left, it gets confused. But really stay present in this moment and notice where other parts of the hip try to take over. And then one more. Great. Let's press into the hands and come on to all fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Once you find your all fours, pressing into the hands, fingers spread wide. We're going to move forward and back a few times, just warming up the hands. So moving the weight forward and back. And then the next time you move forward, taking that weight to the fingertips, as we move back, we're going to start lifting, peeling the fingers up towards the forearms. As we inhale, we're going to keep that flexion through the wrist as we lean forward. And we will keep that flexion as we lean back. So we're actively pulling the fingers towards the forearms. Lean forward. Lean back. Try to keep the elbows straight. One more time. Lean back. And then just come to sit on your heels. Interlace your fingers, moving them in one direction and then in the other. Great. We're going to move through some shoulder circles because it's just good to find some mobility in our upper back always. So moving that right arm forward, thumb pointing out, taking the arm up, finding that end range and then twisting through the arm, moving it forward. 4 more. 3, 2, and 1, and then changing sides. So sending the arm back, thumb pointing in towards the hip this time, sending it all the way back. Find more space than I do, and then bring it forward. Five times. And the other side. This side should be easier because there's no wall. So the thumbs pointing out, palms facing up, arm reaches up, find that end range and then corkscrewing through that arm. 3, moving at your own pace. 4, 5, and then thumb pointing in towards the hip, sending the arm back and finding rotation. 4 and 5. Great. Let's come back to our hands and knees. So this time, we're going to find that strong foundation and take a few cat-cows, starting at the pelvis. The pelvis tips forward, arching through the lower back, the mid-back, and the upper back. Exhale, chin tucks into the chest, rounding through the shoulders, the mid-back, and then the lower back. Pelvis tucks forward, opening the chest. Exhale, chin tucks in, rounding through the spine. Inhale, open the chest at your own pace now. Exhale to round. Move in a way that feels organic, that feels true to you. 2 more. Coming back to your long spine. So we are neither arching nor rounding here. Tuck the toes and lift the knees a few inches off the mat. Then dipping the right pelvis down, coming back to center, and dipping the left side down. So this can be a small movement or a slightly bigger movement like I'm showing here. You just want to find a twisting action through the lower body. Dipping through the right side, so the knees move out to the left, the hips move to the right, come back to center. Dipping through the left side, the knees move to the right. One more time. Knees move to the left, knees move to the right. And then bring the knees down. Stay here a breath. Feel free to take a child's pose whenever you need it. Tuck the toes, lift the knees up, lift the hips up, sending the torso towards the thighs. Downward dog. Staying here for 2 deep breaths. Doing whatever you need to do in your down dog. And then making your way to the front of the mat. Feet together or hips width. Letting the head be heavy, holding on to opposite elbows, just releasing here. Then releasing through the arms, bending into your knees and rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae. Take your time. Letting the head be the last to come up. Stay here a moment. Stretching through the sides of our body now. So find a wide but a strong, stable stance. And then the right arm moves down the right leg. Try keeping the shoulders over the hips, keeping the knees not bent here just yet. And then once we find that maximum stretch, the right hip and the right rib make that contact, then we bend into those knees and find a deeper stretch. Slowly making our way back. Taking the left arm down the left leg. Finding that stretch through the right side. Then bending the knees. Perhaps coming in a little bit deeper here into that stretch. And then slowly coming back up. Great. Back to the front. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold forward. Inhale, find a long spine, crown to tailbone. Take your fingers, interlace them at the lower back, open the chest here. And then release the arms by the side of the hips, finding that long spine. Bend your knees here. Find stability. Exhale, bring the hands down. Send that right leg back. Right knee comes down, arms reach up. So we are in a lunge. Exhale, twisting to the left side, right arm moves forward, left arm moves back. Gaze wherever it's comfortable. Inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale, hands down. Send the left leg back and come to plank. So find a strong plank. Hands are moving towards the feet like that. So finding real strength here through the hands. Feet are strong, legs are strong. Sending the knees down and coming all the way down to the floor. Come on to the tops of the feet. Arms reach forward. As you exhale, pull the elbows in and then send the hands to the mat. Press into the hands. Come halfway up. Head, neck and chest lift off. Exhale to fold. Press into the hands. Come onto the knees and move downward facing dog. Finding external rotation through the arms here. Bending the knees, sending the chest towards the thighs, letting the head be heavy. Doing whatever needs to be done. And then bringing the right foot between the hands, sending the left knee down, arms reach up. Exhale, bring the hands down. Bring the left foot to meet the right. Inhale to lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet. Come all the way up. Arms reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale, long spine. Hands wherever you feel good to do. Exhale, fold. Send the left leg back. Left knee comes down. Arms reach up. As you exhale, twisting to the right side, the left arm moves forward, right arm moves back. Arms come up, come back to center. Exhale, hands come down. Send that right foot back to plank. Knees come down, come all the way down. Tops of the feet, arms reach forward, pulling the elbows in with tension. Shoulder blades move towards each other. Hands come down, press into the hands, lift up, baby cobra. Exhale to fold. Pressing into the hands, come on to your knees, downward dog. Bend into that left knee. Bring the left foot between the hands. Right knee comes down. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, bring the hands down. Bring the right foot to meet the left. Inhale for a long spine. Exhale, fold. Press into the feet. Come all the way up. Hands to heart. Take a moment here. Notice your breath. Notice your beating heart. And then open the legs out. Feel free to get a block because it's really great to sit in Malasana with a block under the hip. Open the legs out. I prefer to have my toes out and the heels a little bit in. And then bend into the feet, bend into the knees, and come all the way down in Malasana. Hands to heart or hands in front. Hips on that block. If you're walking your hands out, let your head come down with it. Chin tucks in towards the chest, close your eyes. And just watch your breath. And then walk your hands back in. Press into your feet. Lift the hips up and come all the way up. Great. So we are going to prepare our hips for a little bit of Trikonasana work. So let's bring a block and practice close to a wall. We're going to take our right foot to the block and we're going to stand on the block. The left foot will be hovering. Take your hands to the hips and notice that the hips are in line right now because the left foot is hovering at the same height as that of the block. And notice the work it takes for us to keep that left hip here. If we were to relax the hip down, the right hip would move up and the left hip would move down. And then keeping that right leg fairly straight, we're going to use the right glute to pull the left leg up. Exhale, release that left hip down. Inhale, pull it up. Exhale to release. Inhale, pull it up. Release. Inhale, pull it back up. So I bet you can feel that right side glute working here. Pull it back up. And then come down from the block. We're going to keep the work in that right side. Come to stand on that right foot. Lift that left foot off the floor. It doesn't have to be too high. Bend the knee. Take your hands to the hips. On the next inhale, open the hip away from that right foot towards the left side. Send the left leg back. So we're kind of in that triangle position. But then leaning the torso back to the front leg, coming onto the toes on that back leg, drag that foot forward. Lift it up. Open the hip. Send that left leg back. Leaning the torso forward, sending that left hip forward. Drag that left foot all the way to the front. Lift that left knee up. Open the hip. Send that left leg back. Come onto the toes of that left foot. Drag it forward and lift it up. Last time, open the hip, send that left foot back. So the toes are at a 45-degree angle this time. Bring that block to the inside of that right foot. And then straighten through that right leg, sending that right hip back, leaning the torso on that right leg, and then lifting it up. Notice the work in the oblique and in that hip. Sending that hip back. The left hip actually moves forward and then lean back up. One final time. Sending that right hip back. Leaning the torso forward, opening the chest towards the ceiling. The right hand comes very slightly on that block. Staying here for 5. And then slowly coming all the way up. Exhale, come to the front of the mat. Great. Now we will take that work on the left side. So coming to stand on the left foot this time. Let's find a nice stable position in my mat. The left foot is on the block. The right leg hovers. The same height as the left. Hands to hips. Notice how hips are at the same level. As we exhale, we're going to relax the right hip down. The toes tap, maybe. And then pull that right hip back up. So we're finding mobility through both hips here. As the right hip relaxes down, the left side glute has to work to pull that right hip back up. But we're trying to keep that left leg straight. Right hip relaxes down and the left side pulls it back up. One more time. We're also exploring how the hips move here. One more time. Right hip relaxes down. Left hip pulls it back up. Keeping it here and then release. Then taking this work on the left side. So pressing into that left foot. The right foot is lifted off the ground, knees bent. Open the hip to the right, send the right leg back, come onto the toes, drag the right foot forward. Open the hip, send the leg back, coming onto the toes, dragging that foot forward. Last time, open the hip, Send that right leg back, setting up for triangle. So making sure that our feet are at a distance away from each other, that this feels stable for us. The toes are at a 45-degree angle. Hands to the hips. We're going to send the left hip back this time. The right hip turns and moves forward, leaning on that left leg. And then we come back up. Send the left hip back, leaning, chest moving towards the ceiling. Come back up. And then for the last time, we'll take that block to the inside of that left foot. Left hip moves back, right hip moves forward, leaning the chest, hand just gently placed on the block, opening the chest. Perhaps the right arm moves towards the ceiling. Breathe. As you exhale, take your hand to your waist or come back out in a T. And then taking the block away, coming to the front of the mat. Just finding a moment in Samasthiti, so arms by your side, feet planted firmly in the mat, toes spread wide. Just connecting with the breath again. Notice what the movements brought up for you. And then we are going to find a seated position. So we'll come to sit on the mat. We're going to take our legs out wide, keeping the knees bent or straightening them, doing whatever feels good. Feel free to take a block right under your hip as well. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, turning to the right foot and folding over that right leg, any amount. Keeping the spine long at first, hinging through the hip and just letting the head be soft. Slowly coming back out. Now taking your hands behind you, lifting that right leg up and bringing that right foot to meet the left. And then sending it back out. So if you have space, take both hands behind you, lift that right leg up, send it close to the left, and back into that wide-legged stance. One more time. Lift that right leg up, bring it close to the left, and then send it out. Come back to your wide-legged stance. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, twisting towards that left foot, and then folding over the left leg, any amount. Slowly making your way up. Take your hands behind you. This time lifting the left leg, any amount. Send it close to the right foot and then send it back. Left leg lifts, meets the right, moves back. One more time. Left foot meets the right and then moves back. And one last time, get both legs together. Hug the knees into the chest. And just stay here for a moment. We will now move through a few minutes of just sitting quietly in meditation. So find a wall behind you, come into a comfortable seat. This might look like a cross-legged position, This might look like sitting on a chair or might simply mean that you want to lie down in Shavasana. It's okay. Close your eyes and just tune into the breath. Notice how the breath moves in and out through the nostrils. Stay connected to every inhale and every exhale. And notice the pause. The pause between the exhale and the next inhale. Notice the chatter. Notice if you're inclined today to tune in or to tune out. Becoming aware of what is happening inward or what is happening outside of you. The noises, the lights, the temperature of the room. What is getting your attention today? Sit with it. Come back to the breath. Where do you feel your inhale? Notice the sensations you feel when you exhale. Notice how it feels today to sit still. We will be sitting in meditation today, but if you feel like moving into a traditional Shavasana, please feel free to lie down. Honor what your body needs today. Heyam Dukkham Anagatam. The Yoga Sutra says that pain that can be foreseen, suffering that can be foreseen, should be avoided. It urges the practitioner to use their power to avoid suffering that can be foreseen, to speak up against injustices, to stay away from the tangles of attachment that are known to bring suffering, and to speak the truth. Doing whatever the practitioner needs to do for self-preservation. Heyam dukkham anagatam. Taking a deeper breath now. Bringing any small movements. Wiggling your fingers and toes. And if you're lying down, slowly making your way to seated. Hands to heart. Thank yourself for practicing today, for showing yourself love, for honoring your body and your mind. I will chant one Om Shanti. Feel free to join and listen. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thanks to you, and thanks to the ancestors that made this practice possible. Dhanyavad or Namaste.